This 2023 meeting of the Monmouth Planning Board, Steve O'Donnell, Chair. We have a forum here tonight. All the regular members are here and Bonnie Green is the alternate. People get a chance to look over the July minutes. Yep, I did. We pass that for now and come back to them. Discuss July minutes.
I reviewed them and I thought they're fine the way they were presented, so I move we accept them as presented.
We have a second.
Second.
Well, Bonnie,
Okay.
you're not a voting member tonight.
Right, sorry.
Okay. Any discussion? I mean, Darcy did, I think, a really good job. I made a couple of edits.
Yeah, I spelled Larry's name wrong.
Yeah. Is it Lawrence? Is it
It's
really
Lawrence.
Is it
but-
Lawrence?
but-
We always call you Larry.
Larry, that's
Right,
fine.
but
Yeah.
I put a W.
My
instead
family
of-
calls me Lawrence.
Yeah.
Everybody else calls me Larry.
All right.
We could just shorten it to L.
There you go.
Any discussion about the minutes? If not, all in favor? Okay. Rick, you weren't here. Bonnie, you could vote on the
You
minutes.
can vote on the minutes, yeah.
All right,
David, you made the motion, right?
and Ray second.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to old business, we carried over Mr. Langelier's shoreland zoning permit. I think there might have been confusion about whether you needed to come in.
What, but
Yeah,
I didn't think I had to, I would have.
yeah, oh, that's okay.
That's all right, yeah,
We had a busy meeting, so,
yeah, yeah.
so just tell us again what the plan is for the building.
Yeah, it's just to replace the sills and foundation, not all the sills, but
Yeah,
uh.
so you're gonna jack it up.
Just a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, nothing big with a company or anything, because it's all pretty good,
Yeah.
but the front is probably this high off the ground, that's where I want to put a frost wall.
Yeah.
And that's about it, I'm not going out or up or anything.
We didn't do a formal site visit, but this is right on Main Street and we're familiar. We've dealt with this property
Yeah,
in the past. And
I think the neighborhood's gonna like it when I'm done, it's the worst looking house in the whole street.
yeah,
Second to worst, there's another one a little shady, but mine's,
Maybe I painted a different color.
no, probably white.
There you
White, I
go.
like white,
So it blends in with the others.
yes, it does, that's from our white.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the frost wall and post repair and sill and stuff.
anyone have any questions, comments from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment on this? Okay, I think we could entertain a motion to approve the application.
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
Then with our usual conditions. So we have some standard conditions. It's just if you like start this year and don't finish, just have to let code enforcement know. You got to get a building permit from code enforcement.
Earth
You-
moving,
Yeah, you might have to put up some silt fence.
yeah, I've got some,
Um,
planned on that.
you may need a permit by rule from DEP. Did you? How close to the mill stream?
50 feet, I'm guessing.
Maybe
So the
not.
Yeah, you probably need to touch base with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might,
it's an online application,
Oh,
very
okay.
simple.
DEP, it's
Yeah,
online.
Maine Department of,
Okay,
you go on the state of Maine website, go to Department of Environmental Protection.
yeah, okay.
And you just make a description of what you're doing.
Yeah,
We need to get it inspected.
Well, you gotta get a building permit.
Right.
And then when you're done, you need to take some photographs of the completed foundation work
okay. Yeah.
and bring them to the town office, to
Yeah.
the code enforcement.
My
Before and
plan,
after.
my plan for this year is to do the whole
We got the
outside.
before,
Okay.
yeah,
My plan is to do the whole outside this year, I hope, and then the inside
Yeah, are you gonna do the jacking this?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll be on that. As soon as I get this
Yeah.
permit, I'll be on that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be done in a couple.
So I have to issue a written decision. And then the code enforcement officer will give you the building permit.
Okay,
So I'll try to get that out next week.
yeah, that would be good.
So, all in favor of this approval with those conditions? Unanimous. Good.
Okay, so I just get a hold DEP, do the whatever they need and
Permit by rule,
check
and then,
with Andy
and
next
then
week.
check with Andy, the code enforcement officer.
that'd be
You
great.
probably need to get the DEP thing before you go see.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. That's what I'll do.
What do you use for a mailing address?
394 Annabessacook Road.
We'll, we'll send the decision to you there.
Oh, that'd be good.
Great.
Okay,
You're all set.
thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
So we have new business, which is an application for shoreland zoning permit for Carol Smiley, 120 Larry Drive, to expand an existing camp, and he's represented by Mr. Douglas. Is that right?
Carol, night.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you grab a chick and right up?
That's fine. I can explain it better if everybody have questions or what's going on.
Just take a quick look at this. So I think they might have been, you got the photograph, how close to the lake is it?
So we're dealing with an existing cottage, as you can see on the cover page.
Yeah.
This is literally taken not even a week ago, I think, so pretty much in current condition as it stands now. It's a 12-foot 2 by 20-foot 2 cabin built in 88 or so. The original building permits in your package. Showing the building permit for it. Has never been changed since.
Yeah.
Carol Smiley's family bought it in, I think, 90, around there sometime. And have done nothing really. To a sense, as you can see, it's pretty dilapidated. And it's located, I apologize, the abutter list is 720 Larry, it's 120 Larry.
Okay.
It's the very, very end of Larry Drive,
2020.
yeah, 120.
Oh, okay.
You know what, the abutter list has 720 Larry, I'll fix that.
Yeah,
The attack map is included, to showing you where it is on the end of the peninsula. And that's within the Jug Street Cove.
and is it on Jug Stream more than the lake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lake, it goes out around.
Right, goes out
His
around.
property is up kind of in the peninsula, so if you look at the very nice home that sits there at the end, the nice home that's on the lakeside, but they're in the full cove.
We looking at 120 or 129?
120 is, that's the map, that's the tax map number, 129. The
Okay.
address is, physical address is 120, yeah. And then the maps are kind of messed up because the building permit has a different map and law and somebody wrote in, but these are the town records, but it is, that is your tax map, is 129. 36. Can't find the 36 on there anywhere, but that's what the records show. So you have an existing family camp that's literally 12-foot by 20-foot. Gambrel style, as you can see, so a full second floor. I don't know when they built this, what they were thinking, but the gambrel roof facing the water, so you have no water view upstairs or anything, kind of strange, but that's how you did things back then, I guess. But you can see there is a shot from the waterfront, which is this rock shot here. And you're 10 to 12 feet off from a couple points of there, is where it sits now, so it's very close.
So it's about 10 to 12.
10 to 12 feet from the rock, you know, as a, average.
Yeah.
Real close. So what we're applying for is the 30% expansion rule for first time expansion, was never been expanded. So allows you a 30% expansion, no increase in non-conformity, so no closer to the water than what's there. So what we're proposing is essentially a 16 by 20, so 4 feet, a little bit 4 feet wider towards the back. Not approaching any closer to the water. If we do the math on it, we had 240 square feet for footprint. If we add the 30%, we're at 74, makes it 321. And the design I did for them is 320. So I left a split foot on the table. So, I mean, you'd think they're trying to have their family there, and it makes it pretty tight as it is.
So with the expansion, what's the total square footage gonna be?
The total with the expansion will be 320. The existing is 247.
So I'm looking at page 3 of our shoreland zoning. And we're talking about expansion of any structure within 25 feet.
So that's the way I would consider this all within 25 feet. 75 is the same. If you look at the next one down, 75 feet is the same criteria, so it doesn't really matter, but I would say it's within the 25 feet.
So the maximum total footprint cannot be expanded to a size greater than 800 square feet.
We're only at 320.
Yeah, so, or 30%. Maximum height may not be greater than 15 feet or the height of the existing structure.
Right, so if you look at the second page. That was taken, show you the reference existing. Building as you see it from the shot, and then I brought in the new design over the existing cabin. If you look, you can see the ridge line of the gambrel, right where the ridge line of the. Sits, so
So it's not gonna be any,
tried to design it to be, right, because you're really
So the
limited to
ridge line-
15 feet, which gives you no second
Nothing,
floor or nothing, right?
but you've got an existing
The line
structure.
of the expansion is the same as the.
Yeah, you can see the gambrel there. It's it's not a gambrel roof. But I kept the height.
This one is.
Yes, the existing is gambrel, but I kept the height. So you still have second floor, but you'll see with the design took advantage of the water for the second floor. Tried to stay within the parameters of the 25 feet non-conforming structure section, which is the most restrictive, but we're well under the 800 square feet as well. And full disclosure, the next section, just to point out, is this cabin is just sitting on block sinking in the ground. So this particular person doing this project, Carol Smiley, is Smiley's Foundations. He's been pouring concrete forever. He'd like to shore this up, put a slab under it till it's right insulated before he builds it.
Slab or like a frost.
So he wants to do not a full frost wall. No, it would be an insulated slab, so it'd be full frost protected, but not a frost wall. He doesn't want to dig down and disturb the soils there for that. So he's pretty much going to be top grade insulated 2-inch styrofoam. So if you go down to the foundations, it talks about that. So there's also the one thing just to point out, it says if you were to remove the structure and put a foundation under it, then the planning board has the ability to make you move it further than the 10 feet
Right,
to the best practical extent. If you look at this page here, right off the corner is the holding tank. And it doesn't really have, he's right up against the property line on the side, the holding tank's right there. If you just said, doesn't see, I think existing footprint is the best practical spot for it.
How deep is the lot from the lake?
Total lot is 85 feet deep by 90 and 80 roughly, so it's about 85 feet to the road that separates the camp lots.
High water line?
Well, to the rock, there's a rock ridge line around there, yeah, so it's a flat lot, so there is really no high water mark. If the water came up, that whole area, then there probably before.
Water's quite high now.
Yeah, right now it is, and it's fine, so, yeah. I live on the Kennebec and, yeah, it's been quite an interesting season.
Can I ask, so in the new picture, this gray here, that indicates,
That would be the foundation piece, so it lifts his part, you know, about 14, 15. Before the frame.
I can see in the picture, it looks like a little step. Is there a plan to put?
I didn't, right now I just superimpose that on, but the building obviously will have stairs. The stairs. and the
Okay,
stuff, I
okay,
didn't
so
put them on
it'll just
there.
be like an entryway, there won't be like a porch or,
No, essentially it will be like a freestanding, like 2 steps that could be freestanding, so it's not
Mhm,
attached to the structure, so it wouldn't count towards the setback. or whatever.
so it's on the side too, right?
Yeah, and it's off the side. Yeah.
So is that going to be a small concrete wall or is it
Yeah.
block or?
Yeah, no, he'll pour concrete. That's what he, and then the slab will be brought up and he'll have, some space under there for you to see to get underneath. I'm pretty sure this. They'll actually put a floor system on this. He's not gonna build off the slab.
Slab
Slab
down
down.
here.
Yeah, correct. Slab
Yeah.
down grade
And then block.
brick wall, not block, you'll for it.
Concrete, concrete, and then the structure will sit on top.
Build base and then brick. He really doesn't want it down in the ground, it makes sense, and gives him some underneath just to be able to get the things that he needs to, somebody skinny anyway.
You're gonna jack it up and move it out of the way and then put it down.
It's gonna come down, it's gonna come down.
Yeah, but is he gonna move it out of the way and then pour the foundation and then bring it down?
No, I think they'll take it down.
Okay.
and-
Just tearing it
Yeah,
down.
tear it down, yeah, tear it down. That's why I pointed out the reconstruction and replacement clause in there, so. Yeah, once you're up to 50%, it talks about you have 12 months to do the permit, but he plans on trying to do it this winter.
Oh, so we're gonna make this go away.
Go away and build this in one place of it, yes,
That's gonna be replaced by this. Okay.
yes. Yeah, there's no saving that really.
Okay.
It's
So
good,
it's
but it
not
would never be
back or anything
usable.
like that.
Yeah.
If that goes away and
No, he wants to protect
shows
the
up
family
in
to be long, he wants to make this so it's good for a long time, and family can actually go there, they don't use it because it's, unusable. There's a camper out back there, they park a camper there and stay that one.
so it's a holding tank right now.
It is a holding tank, it's existing one, the system is in your packet there to show you the permit on that. And he plans on keeping that holding tank.
How wide is that?
65 by 85, nominal,
6 feet, 5 wide.
55, 85 towards the road from the water. With floods.
So then it's the old structure coming down. Why can't it be? Get back further?
And the holding tank's right behind it, I mean, if you want to replace your septic system, you can see the cover, it does that right behind it. So, yeah,
Could move to the side line.
and it's coming 4 feet already with the 4-foot expansion from the 12-foot that's there, back.
You know, if the tank is large enough to come accommodate 2,000.
They go by bedrooms anyway, but
Okay.
being a holding tank, that's the matter of a holding tank, it's sized 1,500-gallon tank, so that would be sized for
Okay.
a 3-bedroom, it'd just be a matter of
Okay.
locking, yeah, so yeah, 1,500-gallon tank is pretty typical, you wouldn't see anything bigger than that.
And there's an RV pad there now.
No, there isn't, my plan shows that, and his brother has a camper, that he parks there and whatever. So I just showed it on the plan, but he doesn't have intention of pouring any pad or anything for it, so we just have a little camper that he parks there. So that wouldn't be, the building permit would just be for the structure itself, it can't.
I think the first thing would be a motion to accept the application.
Make a motion to accept the application.
Any discussion on accepting the application?
We can accept it.
Right. All in favor of accepting the application? So typically in these, do a site visit. Just so we can actually see the lay of the land and,
It's all right there.
you know,
Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
Schedule one, sure.
weeks, is that? Yeah,
I'll be August 24th.
yeah. August 24th at. We want to do 5:45. Does that work for everybody? Or
I might be here then, but I can go before.
What was the date?
the 24th is 2 weeks?
24.
I won't be here either.
Next day, I'll go up fish early until you show up. I was looking at it out there, that's all I could think about when I saw that little cove in there, I never fished over there.
Is that a good time or do you want to move it up?
I don't know, I gotta look at my schedule. So I can schedule.
You can send me an email when you figure it out too.
Okay, can you, You depict the property lines easy enough?
I can, yeah, whereas an existing footprint, I didn't go, from a survey plan, whatever, it's not gonna be a surveyed plan for
Right.
that.
Just
I
where the
can
lot
go,
lines are.
I can go triangulate the footprint right from the pins that are in the corner and give you, and put those measurements on. I plan on doing that. I figured
Okay.
you might want that, just so you
Okay.
have something on record off with.
Yeah, like I said.
Yeah, and that way you get there, well, you're gonna see the existing building anyways, torn down by them, but. So, but I'll have the dimensions on the plan for you.
We're gonna need a $100 fee. Cover the normal fee plus we have to mail the mailings to the abutters.
So, are you gonna do that, or did you want me to send out the mail? You send the.
We typically send them out.
Alright. Yes.
Get that together. Hopefully can do that next week.
Yeah.
Not too many, I think, from the list.
We actually went a little further than what they required, I think, just to make sure we covered the 500 or something. Yeah, so we added a few extra properties in.
So Dave, Dave Shaw was our code enforcement officer here in Monmouth, so.
Okay.
You have a comment on the foundation concern or?
Well, I heard you say that you were gonna build it on a slab, and the slab is not recognized by the state of Maine anymore. You have to use a haunch footer.
Well, that's, he is, if you see there's a wall, he's putting the haunch insulated.
So it's
I
an
know.
18-inch
That's what
haunch.
I
You
do
mentioned
too.
14 inches, but it's really an 18-inch.
I'm not, I'm exposed above what he has at the bottom, so we can get his hatch in, so he's still gonna go down, yeah.
Fine.
No, we've got, I've got the
Insulated
engineered
haunch.
diagrams for insulated,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
we build a bunch of them.
And the foam has to extend beyond the horn.
Yeah, I got the whole diagram on how we do them. I can include it with I figured it'd be with the building permit package, but if you want it for your planning board, I can. We do a lot of them.
I guess I'd like to consider the side lot lines marked in some fashion. Now,
Yeah. Yeah, when you go there, you're gonna see they have a fence, because it's right up against the property line. It's a clean fence that runs the whole. You'll see it. It's very easy, and the dock is the other line, because the other campers, they actually use a little bit of his property where the other camp is, so.
Is that somebody else's?
No, that's his. So
That's
yeah, his dock is right on the edge of his line here, campus here.
Property line.
Yeah. So it's very easy to determine when you come, I'll have stakes and mark it up for you and put some measurements on a plan.
Yeah, and so the other concerns that we always have is, if we can make some improvement to the site. In terms of any runoff, whether from roofs or other impervious. So a lot of times we're gonna look at suggesting, some type of drip edge or, some crushed stone or something to.
Obviously, it's tight working in that area, but I mean, under permit by rule, I could do, a drip line around the front property.
Yeah.
You only got 10 feet.
Yeah, you gotta get,
Hard to do a drip line.
Yeah,
too
because
much, but
even, I think you gotta get the permit by rule anyway because of the foundation.
it Shouldn't for that, but I don't think the other one had to, but I do them all the time, so
Well,
I can do it
It's
either
a
way.
matter of how close you
Right,
are.
we're not doing any shoreline stabilization, we're
Yeah.
not touching the shoreline,
Yeah.
so I can fill it out, they'll
They'll
just take
give
the
it
money
to you,
and
yeah.
give me the automatic, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a waste. I don't believe it qualifies for that, but I could do it if you want it.
Usually we'll invite, Monmouth uses as a consultant on any shoreland issues, obviously watershed district. So usually the executive director tries to come to our site visits and sometimes make some recommendations for, things, usually low cost things that could be done too.
I'll be happy to take a look. One of the things you'll notice that this here is, there's nothing but a watershed. This roof, and then this design here goes one pitch from front to back.
Backside.
And pushes it onto the back, so I've addressed that a lot on just trying to eliminate that water up front already, but I've been building my entire career, 35 something years, and I will not put a gutter on a house, so if you come up with something like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to fight about it, because I just watch them destroy, and actually under rainwater laws and MS4 regulation stuff, they don't want them anyways, they want you naturally to absorb through the ground, they don't want gutters concentrating water flow. But this design should take a lot of that, at least get it to the backside.
Any other questions? So, yeah, I'll email you, but I think we'll plan for 2 weeks from tonight.
For the site visit,
Yeah,
and then from there is. it-
so from there, we come
Hearing?
back to the September meeting.
Okay.
Generally. That's, people come out of the woodwork and give us some reason.
Right. yeah.
I mean, it's,
Oh, that's
If
what
it
they've
can be-
listed for. I've been a code officer for a long time,
Yeah.
so I've done that many, so
yeah,
I always tell people the same thing. Hey, it could be all good until,
yeah,
until those notices go out, and then you never know what's coming.
Right. but if you meet the ordinance, you meet the ordinance. So
Right, yeah.
that's. Hey, it looks like this will be a significant improvement to what's.
It'd be improvement for that area. Currently there, I cross street will love it. And I think I talked to Carol about the butters and asked, because you never know, out of state, do you have anybody you know that's gonna just say, he said, no, everybody's can't believe it. We're actually fixing it up. So I
Yeah.
think you see most of the butters are pretty happy that he has a chance to do something nice with it.
There's a lot of places down there, they're right on the line.
It's funny, you got beautiful and then, whoo, and then you got beautiful, but every town has it's all that way. But there are some nice ones in there, beautiful area for sure.
And you said this is the last property on Larry Drive, is it, or?
Well, it's
Pretty
the very end of
close.
the cul-de-sac, but I think there's a couple lots if you, that go, they hear the fence up and then it's like a driveway that goes to the last two houses. So he's the last of the road.
Yeah.
Behind the existing building. Yeah, much of anything for vegetation, it looks kind of brown.
Nothing's brown right now, I know that.
On the other side is green.
Yeah, it's a very, very flat lot and they've been doing some brush cleanup. I said this thing has been not had attention for a long time, as you can see. So they're over there cleaning it up. There's a fence line, it's all wooded. So you can almost not even see the two at the end. So that's all tree line. But the lot itself is a big open lot with one big tree on the corner that we're gonna try to leave right there where the cabin is. So
We're just curious if
lawn area, cars parking.
Yeah, vegetation wise.
Gravelly area, people been driving on it. It's nothing, nothing landscape nice right now.
Yeah, but landscape nice. Something to hold the water back if need be.
Mhm.
Probably one of the bigger lots you're gonna see out there. It's a big, doesn't sound big, but for the camp lots, it's a big lot.
A lot of lots.
Yeah,
there.
the best thing to do is once we get to do the site visit, we'll have better
Get to see what
idea
there.
what's.
I didn't see any marks on the cabin that people have been marking watermarks on anyway, but doesn't mean it hasn't been underwater before. I don't know, but pretty much all the cabins there would be because it's a pretty level area at that end.
Of course, we've been having lately, even a flat area can be a washout area.
Yeah, no, I can't even mow parts of my lawn right now, in August, crazy wet.
When Cook doesn't really have any means to hold any water back.
Right, right.
They got that little sluice way, but that's useless right now.
What you get is what you get.
You got it. It's all coming down into Cobble Sea and then down.
Yeah. Oh, I think we can answer a lot of those questions just by seeing it,
Yeah.
come out and
Okay.
do what we can. I'll have it ready, put those measurements on the plans and try to have it ready for you. Very good. You want me to leave the big ones here?
Maybe one,
I'll leave you one set and I can give the other one to the client,
yeah, if that's all right.
yeah, just was.
We'll have one in the town office.
Good. You'll have at least a full scale for now, if somebody wants it. Oops, actually, there was a cover page too.
All right.
Once I hear otherwise, yeah. Okay, time, please begin us in, appreciate that. You
Yeah.
didn't want to get into fall and winter. You didn't have to.
Well, we didn't have much on the agenda, so.
Appreciate that very much.
Out You,
He told me, and I do this too, and then he told me, he said, no, I didn't say anything about Jen. I said, there's always, you have to get stuff in. I used to always be 2 weeks, so everybody can be in, like, you go out at 5 and you at 7, either way. He didn't want to hear that, we said, anything about it. Appreciate you getting me.
Okay.
all right, take care. All right. For the business, we have, now the election of officers. We discussed Rick has been appointed a full member. My understanding is John Davinsky's gonna be offered the alternate slot. He emailed me, I don't, said he hadn't heard anything. So he, wasn't gonna come tonight because he just didn't know what the status is, so. Try to touch base with him and he can decide what he wants to do. Rick is now a full member. Dave and I were reappointed. And I assume you got sworn in. I think you said.
Yesterday.
Yeah, so I know Rick said he was in, so. So anyway, so we need to get our officers for the next year. Entertaining motion.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Steve, existing chair, continue positive direction.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
You second, please. Oh, Larry.
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
So vice chair, I would nominate Ray for that to continue as vice chair.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? And secretary,
Nominate Larry, continue. As secretary.
any second? Dave, second? Any discussion? You're willing to do it? We may need more help than I keep Darcy on track because I'm not the best sometimes with
There was some,
remembering. But
did we vote for?
no, not yet. All in favor? So those are the officers.
There's some discussion that Larry wants to put forth.
Yeah, we need to take a look at planning board guidelines and need to address some of the outages. One, I think the election of officers should be done in August and in July, because board of selectmen need to do their part.
Mhm.
The second, the secretary should be taken out of there, not a planning board, but should be a recording secretary hired by the that should be changed.
Mhm. So I'm trying to remember whether we have to get any of those guidelines approved by the select board. Remembered, I mean, the ones we have been in place probably for as long as I can remember.
The other way is by having that done, the whole board of selectmen, that they have someone as a recording secretary for the planning board. That's part of the part of our guidelines.
Got a copy of our copy of my book. There are about 6 pages. We have one on my computer. Open that up. Right, let's see if I can. Well, that's been sort of the issue is that in terms of the secretary position, if we're talking about sending out notices, you got to have someone who's in the office to make sure that's.
That way, if it's in there, if it's in writing, it's part of our policy, someone in the office needs to make sure it gets done. Shouldn't have to go this far, but.
Well, yeah, fortunately, things took quite a step backwards. It's unfortunate.
They just didn't want to hear anything I said.
But I think the first step is we need to go fix and change planning boards policy.
Your current slate is not going to change it.
They can't change it, but you send it to the public. and have them. So that's how the policy is. That's how the process works. They may not approve the recommendation, but it's still,
You're going in the right direction. However, that person that you're looking to hire to be your secretary is not gonna know what the code enforcement officer has done. This position needs to be the codes officer. It can't, it doesn't work any other way. Because the secretary, unless that person happens to come in at the same time, isn't even gonna see that person till this meeting. There's no communication. Your communication starts with the codes officer who takes the application on the phone call,
Right now it's broke.
and it's broke.
Landy's pretty good getting information to me. I mean, it's, you know, for him, it's been a learning curve too. I think the town could benefit by him having more hours.
He won't take them.
And I suppose he's got some other,
He's been offered. He won't take them. He's too busy. Yes, Steve, if you saw how many emails I've gotten from Andy asking questions, and I wish it was built into my phone. All the time, and have to tell him.
Can't be the de facto guy.
He can't afford me now. I'm the alternate codes enforcement officer for the town of Monmouth. All I'm hired to do now is to do the inspections on ones that the past 3 codes officer issued permits for, that can't do the inspection. That the town already collected the fee.
I'm sure the same thing is going on here that's going on in the other towns like Manchester and Winthrop. They've got people that get a building permit or don't bother getting a building permit and just go do whatever.
And it puts us, and I'll look at you.
Or someone,
Or someone in a very precarious position, because you can't inspect something a lot of times that's already been done.
I had someone that said he was gonna report me to the state because I wouldn't inspect it because it's all done.
I would dial the phone for them. Here, call them, tell them what's broken.
Yeah.
It's broken. The whole thing is broken. Fortunately,
Now we have 3 towns in a row. We have Monmouth, Winthrop and Manchester. They're all just circling the drain.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you, well,
Winthrop hasn't been too bad. As far as I can
Winthrop
see.
hasn't been too bad because he's been calling 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah,
And getting things done this way instead of down.
right, right.
Can you do me a favor? Somebody started without it. Can you go take a look? Do you want me to make them dig up the foundation? Only if you think it needs to be dug up. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you should go look at it too, being code enforcement officer. Should, yeah,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
he should go look at it as well. If there's an issue, that he should go at least look at it, yeah.
And then he tries to, and I won't say anything, if Dave doesn't say anything about me, because he says, well, you 2 guys.
So is part of the problem that there are not enough qualified people to be?
There's not enough qualified code enforcement officers.
Right,
Okay,
And they treat the 3rd-party inspectors like dirt, and they're gonna lose them.
yeah.
and the problem is, if you go out and look on the website for the whole state, there's a whole bunch of towns that are looking for code enforcement people.
Yeah.
A lot of it, they do not require that they be licensed by the state to inspect.
Oh, That's not a good thing.
You're right. But anyway.
No, wait.
That subtle point aside,
Yeah, okay.
so you get somebody in there that's writing a permit. And I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything, but
No.
if you were now the code enforcement person in Monmouth,
Mhm,
and I came in and I said, I want to build this and I need a permit,
mhm.
what are you gonna tell me?
Well, I've got to see if it conforms and where are you building it and.
How are you gonna decide whether it conforms or not?
You're not certified.
I'm not, yeah, because I'm not, I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. So like,
So would you do what Andy does? He calls him or he calls me.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Don't you?
oh, we're gonna have,
Doesn't
we're gonna have
an
this,
enforcement officer have to get certified after a certain point,
After a year.
after a year? Yeah.
But the standards that he has to be done is very small.
Mhm.
You know, he was certified right to all commercial in the whole thing. He does not have to.
and like we have to take ongoing courses in that in order to not only maintain our license, but to be able to apply for a renewal.
Right.
So like tomorrow between 1 and 3, they have the courses online. So tomorrow between 1 and 3, I have to sit in front of the computer and take
You
this.
coming
course.
over? Coming over?
Yes.
And we'll do it together.
Yeah. But it's.
There's no other way to do this, you know, but a codes officer doesn't have to do that.
Right.
Once he's certified. He takes the classes that they offer, and if they don't offer it, they just sign it off.
But what?
Well, part of the
Things
problem is
change,
like
don't they?
the code enforcement officers that are not certified. Except for Mark once in a while, or most of the time, when somebody comes in and says, I want a building permit. His first response really, if you were really doing what you're supposed to, would be, okay, yes, you need to be, it needs to be inspected. Who are you gonna have inspected?
Inspectors need to be certified.
Inspectors need to be certified.
Of course.
But if the code person doesn't tell you that you need to have this inspected and it needs to be by a certified inspector,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? You're gonna go off and do your own thing.
Yeah, of course.
And then they call somebody and say, oh, I'm done on your occupancy permit. Now,
Right. But he should tell them, like, you need to have a third party inspector and what stages need to be inspected.
I almost have Andy doing that, except the people in the office at that time don't have a clue as to who to pick.
I provided, well, I give it to Andy, Mark has it, and now Richard in Manchester has it. I have a list that went down through the state and said, here's the inspection points that need to happen for a regular building project.
Mhm.
Not every point pertains to every project.
Right.
But it says footers need to be inspected, the foundation, and just goes on from there. So it's it's a see spot as a dog type thing. It doesn't take rocket science to follow that.
Right.
And I think you probably use the same list.
Use the same one.
Okay, I found the rules of the planning board.
Okay, we gave you enough time.
Yeah. So it says, the planning board shall elect a chairman and a secretary from among its members and create and fill such other offices as it may determine. So I think we may want to add in a vice chairman and make changes that reflect that, because it says when the chair isn't available, he or she could designate someone to be, but if we have an existing, Vice chair.
That person should take over.
yeah. It says the vice chairman, I mean, it's funny, it has in here, going further through on duties, that the vice chairman shall assume the duties of the chairman. The chairman may delegate duties to the vice chairman when the workload or circumstances so dictate that it is in the best interest of the planning board. Then under secretary, it has, the secretary shall be responsible for the records of the planning board. It shall not be construed that the secretary must keep the minutes or perform other secretarial duties when a professional recording secretary is available to the planning board. Nonetheless, the secretary shall be responsible for drafting letters and the like. It says in behalf, it probably should say on behalf of the planning board, when directed by the chairman. So I guess the question is, I think that the select board agreed that Darcy could do, or her position could do other duties such as, make sure the records are where they should be. So I don't know. I don't know what change there is really needed.
Who gives the stuff to Darcy?
Basically, I do.
Okay, so you get it from Andy.
Yeah, Andy, like this person today. Let's see, it was here tonight. Got plans to Andy. Andy sent me a copy.
So the 5-day or 10-day rule went out the window?
Well, we,
Or putting it in the minutes? So, or on an agenda, so somebody like me could look it up and say, oh, there's a new application coming tonight.
right.
Yeah, that's right down the street from me.
No, nothing.
Well, what happened this week was that Lori was out of the office, so she couldn't post the agenda. The agenda didn't get done last week. So it was partly my fault because I just didn't have the time to. I checked just to make sure we had anything, but since we had one item.
Yes,
I mean-
also the agenda didn't show up until the day of, I think, for the one off of Packard Road.
Oh,
And I sure as heck wanted to be here.
yeah, it was a pre-application,
Right, but
yeah. Well, that's it. We do have to get these out earlier. No question.
Okay, and I guess the other thing is, whose responsibility is it in the town office? I spoke with Doug about this. He said that was Justin's responsibility and not Lori's.
To do what? To post?
The website in general, posting in the website
Okay,
was Justin's responsibility. That's what Doug informed me.
yeah.
that's right. That's exactly true. And then he'll delegate to Lori to do it.
Or somebody, yeah.
Or somebody else. Whatever.
But he doesn't. I mean, it takes all of 30 seconds. Do it.
If I know how to do it, I would do it.
He scans it to his computer and puts it on the website.
That's it.
It's 2 clicks.
That's all I would need is just log into the website.
Of course. But you have to be able to get paper to computer.
I can do that. I got a full office in my house.
Yeah, that's all it requires.
You want
But
me
this,
you
you
want
know,
me to
the
ask
time frame,
Steve?
your guys' time frame.
Well, yeah, you could ask whether you'd be allowed to
Justin.
do that. That would save a step.
Okay.
Then, yeah. Because then who's the governing body that says the 5 days are up or the 6 days, 10 days? I think
9
it's,
days is what it figures out to.
is it 9 days?
Yeah.
So she can't post it if it's 9 days. It has to be posted on the 9th day, because then you can't accept any more applications.
Correct.
If you do, it has to go to the following.
It goes on the
following.
next month. And that saves you because you're not using that all the time. I mean, I've tried to log in. If I'm 20 minutes late to the meeting, nobody sees that I'm waiting to come on.
Well, I see, and I really don't know how to operate the thing.
Yeah. So I've decided in the summertime, I'll go to Gardner and then stop here on the way.
I don't know if I did it right. We turned it on, we can see one another, it's recording. But I don't know whether anyone tried to get on or not. I mean,
There's certain basic things that the planning board and board of appeals, they have to be correct, otherwise it's an invalid meeting. It's, you know, somebody argues, the judge has to throw it away, or you have to do a de novo hearing, do it all over again, and I put yourself through that, get it right the first time and get the notices out at least.
so, yeah, it says the election shall take place at the first meeting following the annual town meeting, so I think we want to say, so that the July meeting generally isn't enough, so we'd say,
In August.
yeah, the election shall take place at the August meeting. Every
And that
year.
now gives time for the selectmen
Yeah.
and whatever to do their
Yeah.
part, and then you gotta do members of the board. Because usually that's what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's what happened this time.
And it happened the same thing last year too.
Well, why don't I see what I can do and then we'll maybe look at the changes I come up with at the next, I'll get everybody something.
You gotta look at that, 'cause what says, who knows how old that is, probably 30 years old, and times have changed,
Well,
things have changed.
You think?
I got
Mr. Will?
written on it 8/8/ it looks like 05.
Is that 2005 or 19?
I did it because I was new, I didn't have anything to go by, so you guys had to do something for me to get me started. That's when I came on board in February of 05. So then, yeah. It's unfortunate, but what I used to do is gonna get shoved over to Darcy.
Well, you know, we were supposed to have a planner.
Supposed to do the comp plan too.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that going again. You know, I left it to go, you know, we had so much other
Oh,
problems.
I wholeheartedly agree.
No, I just tripped across while I was looking here, something Linda sent us. Duties and responsibilities of the planning board or something.
Just throw it away.
Yeah.
'Cause it's probably South Portland.
Yeah. Well, she was trying to. Saw that. See it somewhere.
She wanted you to do what I did.
Yeah,
Get done. Darcy should be telling who's up, whose position is up. I mean, I kept a separate track. I didn't rely on the town to tell me who was the next one up. I had my own in the drawer, and I just kept updating it. 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years.
But here's the thing, if the town chooses to change what they want to do, then they have to pick up. It's their responsibility to pick it up.
They hired Andy knowing that he was not gonna be able to do planning. Cause I told him point blank, I was working. And they were paying me a lot of money to sit there and hold his hand. A lot of money.
planning board responsibilities, May 2021. Linda Cohen. To Charles, Daniel, Swain, me, and Doreen with a copy to Joel. So this was when all this stuff was gonna happen. Roles, KV cog, create agenda, put together applications, recommendations on applications, and consulting with CEO for meetings before and after, assistance with ordinance review, on and on and on. Zoom hosting, email applicants, Had my duties, chair meeting, communicate with PB members outside of scheduled meetings, send out emails on decisions, questions to applicants, schedule site visits, report back to CEO and KV cog on site visits and applications, attend the meetings, work with the planning board to set escrow fees. And the CEO collect applications, issue licenses, advise planning board on technical aspects and specifics. Blah, blah, blah. Attend planning board meetings, short-term meetings. Collect application fees and track escrow accounts, escrow quarterly report. And then the administrative position that Darcy has, attend meetings, take minutes. And of course, provide KV cog with minute drafts. That was that. She does that to Ray and I. Notices to abutters. Town, AKA Linda/Lori. Coordinate with CEO, KV cog and chair to access records at the town office. Update website with agenda documentation and Zoom links. Provide any commentary from select board. So I don't know. I mean, some of this is okay, but anyway.
But-
Was that ever passed?
This
This was Linda's,
This was Linda's, but,
no, it was never got to the board.
okay.
she just did it.
She just did it. So this gentleman that was in here, this is pretty basic, but there are other ones on Larry Drive. Did anybody check to see if there was another application in the planning board file that it was either in for Board of Appeals or for a planning board hearing? I mean,
Negative.
negative. Yeah, he had the paperwork for the holding tank, but holding tanks aren't allowed. You know, he has an existing one. So
Right.
he gets to keep it unless you move the building back and take the holding tank out. If he moves the holding tank, he's got to put a new system in. Because they won't approve a holding tank.
And if he doesn't have enough room,
Oh, he's got,
He's
doesn't he
done
have
for.
all the land behind him? Am I misunderstanding something? Isn't there quite a bit of room behind the cottage?
Yeah, it's 85 feet from the lake.
And that building's only 20 feet long? Right?
So he's 10 feet from the water and 20-foot wide building.
Hmm.
So there's got to be another.
But the thing is, if our policy says that if he spends it just by 30%, he doesn't have to move it back.
Oh,
Well, no, he's taking it down. He's
Right.
taking the building down.
Yeah,
So then that comes into your play.
Okay.
That's when you move
All
the
right.
building back.
All right,
If he was just expanding, no, you can't make him move it back.
Yeah.
But once it
Yeah.
comes down,
now we take a look at it.
remember
Okay.
Scout Drive, they left the one wall up, right?
tricks of the trade.
yeah.
Didn't you ask about that, Ray?
What?
About moving the building
oh, yeah.
back?
Yeah, he brought it up.
After the site visit,
Yeah, we'll take a look at the site, but we shouldn't be discussing it
No.
when they're not.
Yeah,
here.
right.
I mean, there are certain, but what I'm getting at is there is nobody here or there that's going to do that for you. To go look and see in the files, which when I left were pretty doggone good, I think.
Who has the right to look into building permit files? What's there for building permits? Like what's,
It's public record.
Public record,
yeah. So any planning board member could go in and look at it.
but you have to go to the other file cabinet and you gotta know how to find it, because it's not as easy as just looking up a name.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's filed by,
Map and lot.
Map and lot.
Is it in
That's-
your
It
office
could
still?
be under land, it could be under shoreland, it could be under planning board, it could be, you know, there are Cs, you know, go to on a lot of where it is, because a lot of them would double. You know, they had a Board of Appeals and then they had a planning board sent them back to the Board of Appeals. There's always that.
We as planning board members would know, would send it to the Board of Appeals, correct? Right? Nothing would go to the Board of Appeals before it would come to us, would it?
Oh, yeah. Well, Board of Appeals against the codes officer wouldn't go to you. If the code officer made a mistake,
Mhm.
that automatically goes to them. If
It
it's if it's a decision, he can go to the Board of Appeals based on your decision.
If we decide something and the applicant doesn't agree with it.
Right, right. I
They can go to
understand
the Board of Appeals and the Board of Appeals can say, planning board was correct, or they believe the planning.
Or
board
send it
was
back
incorrect.
for consideration.
Mhm.
And then if you still say no, then it goes to state. Then the whole de novo thing comes into place. You have to do the whole application all over.
See, it would be good if the town, I'm just gonna go back to what you were saying, Dave, about checking on stuff. If there was under each piece of property, you know, like on the property card record or associated with it, if it had some summary.
On every car, don't forget, when I got there were no building files. There was a box. So I have the cabinets that have all the building files. No matter who lives in it, who people change,
Right.
on the tab where the map and lot is a red dot if it has a Board of Appeals. So you can go across the hall and find that map and lot in that file cabinet
Yeah.
and see what, or it's a blue dot if it's planning board. If it has a blue dot, go over and look at it. Well, unfortunately, in the last 2.5 years or 3 years, nobody's been putting dots on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be almost impossible to go through. It's just a bunch of file folders.
Doreen spent weeks, 2,300 cards. Putting little dots on, so it was easier for me. An application came in, I pulled the file, oh, it's got a planning board dot on it, and I walk across, get that one. Now let's see what you're applying for.
Oh, 3 years ago, this person expanded it by 30%.
10%
Already.
expansion, now they're asking for 30%, yeah. Nope, I'm not sending you to the Board of Appeals, to the planning board.
Exactly.
Darcy, how many hours do you think you're gonna be spending in the town office per week?
It's flexible. I mean, I'm flexible. It's just no one's ever showed me anything. You know?
So I mean, it's
Go to
just
Justin and I will teach you.
Okay,
There you go.
because that would be, I think what Dave is saying is if an application came in and you got the map and lot number, there's a way of checking
yep,
to see if there has been some kind of activity by the Board of Appeals or Planning Board on that parcel,
yep.
which would be helpful to know.
Because this applicant might not have known, it might have been two owners ago.
That they already did the 30%.
Yeah, these guys who just bought it, they don't know that it's already been done.
So if I wanted to continually expand my house, I own it. I
Sell it to your daughter.
My daughter,
Yeah,
and then she expands it 30%, and then she sells it back to me, or sells it to my wife,
correct.
or my grandson, and we go back and forth. So
And then
now
you
I'm
have
at
the Taj Mahal.
300%.
Well, some of us might remember, say, we've been here before. Right?
Maybe.
Well, Mike was good. Mike would remember,
Yeah, Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
Liked it a lot.
Mike,
Mm.
yes.
Yeah.
Mike was good for that. So, all right.
all right, all right.
I'm available on Tuesdays. My Tuesdays are pretty much open.
If you clear it with Justin, he will pay me to teach you.
And I'll send Justin an email.
I am in the middle of doing 2 inspections for the town. And they're paying me direct. The town's paying me on salary
You're doing 2 inspections for the town?
because they were issued by somebody before.
You.
No, after me,
Oh.
that said CEO inspected and never was CEO inspected. And there's a lot of them. There was about 12 or 15 that I know of.
Yeah, there's some other stuff going on that some other code guy who wasn't licensed inspected it.
Well, that was Daniel's problem. He tried to do inspections and didn't know what to do, and it just went.
I have one up in Belgrade.
They went by the head.
They-
They're
No,
all the same.
nobody really inspected it.
All the same.
the new house,
It's,
all kinds of issues.
this board is relying on you.
For that.